Good morning. Today is a great day to be alive and a fine time to be at the one and only Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College on this very special occasion. We have a lot of history-making days at ABAC, and this is certainly one of them. I am Mike Chasen. I am Director of Public Relations Emeritus at ABAC. Proud to be your host for this annual Employee Faculty Staff Recognition Ceremony. For our official welcome today, I want to turn things over to the 11th President in the history of Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Tracy Brundage.
Thanks, Mike. The faculty, the staff, and the administrators of ABAC are critical to the success of this institution. Without all of you, the students would not have the support systems in place to ensure their success upon graduation. Something that I remind everyone as often as I can, each day each of us comes to work, we have the ability to change someone's life. How do we do that? Through the transformational power of education. Each one of us has this role. Often it is the professor who takes the time after class to meet with students who are unclear about their career paths, and as a result, those students can then declare a major that aligns with those goals. It is an advisor who explores a student's schedule and makes adjustments to coursework and that the student had not considered. This mentorship removes hurdles and ensures that our students are on a smooth path to graduation. Faculty continue to have a role in this transformational power of education by sparking our students' imaginations and engaging them in a new and unique way. It pays off when those students change their perspective on that particular course. Many of us have had that faculty mentor in our own academic journey that we credit to where we are today. I know I do. Our staff members work with our students every day and are pivotal to the support structure of their success. There are countless examples of this, but the one that seems to come up the most are the financial barriers our students face. Students are often surprised with the ABAC level of response to these issues. I have personally seen our staff members rally around students to help lower those financial barriers, and I must acknowledge our generous donors who provide support in terms of our scholarships. The support from our staff also comes in many other forms, but the point is that a friendly face and a helpful attitude go a long way toward making sure that a student stays at ABAC and graduates. We all make a difference in the way students perceive this college. Today, we honor those who have pledged their support to ABAC for a number of years and to those who are the best of the best. Every day, I think about how fortunate I am to be associated with such a quality group of people, and thank you to every faculty member, staff member, and administrator at this great place called ABAC.
Thank you, President Brundage. We'll begin today's ceremony with our annual service awards for our faculty and staff members. It's an ABAC tradition to recognize faculty and staff who have reached 5 years of service, and again every 5 years after that. Each 5-year milestone receives a small token of our appreciation. And for today's service awards, we begin with our employees who've been with us for 5 years. These are employees who've been at ABAC 5 years. Amanda Brown, Salathia Clark, Joshua Clements, Chris Earls, Vonda Finn. I think this is Vonda's second stint on that 5 years. Suzanne Green, Chloe Holbrook, Deborah Howard, Jennifer Wong, Yolanda Jackson, Jay Johnson, saw him earlier today, Kimberly Jones. Also 5 years, Mark Kistler, Barbara Lampkin, Cynthia Lawson, Dan Miller, I know I saw him earlier today, Michael Moore, Jennifer Morell, Farish Mulkey, Sarah Norris, Gamara Osby, 5 years, Sergio Pichardo, Scott Pierce, Tremaine Porter, David Reed, Bonnie Ruiz, Zylan Shee, Naomi Sims, and I know that's Naomi's second stint. She came in 1978, and so we're glad that she's being recognized today after about 45, 46 years of service. Brenda Smith, Amanda Walker, Catherine Wiseman. These are your employees who've been here 5 years. Let's give them a nice hand. "10 years at ABAC, David Bass, Adam Brumfield, Tim Carpenter, Shubha Chatterjee, Kitty Davis, Sudees, Casey Jones. I've communicated with Casey just this week. Franzel Mathis Pertilla, Sarah Maladowski, Lisa Pryor, Russell Pryor, Jessica Miller, Casey West. 10 years of service. Let's give them a round of applause. Well done. 15 years at ABAC. Kingsley Dunkley, Cindy Hall, Jennifer Harper, Melissa Harrell, Joseph Johnson, John Layton, Dave Nelson, and Mickey Tompkins. Those are your 15-year award winners. Let's honor them. Now we start to creep along a little bit. Emily Cheat, 20 years at ABAC. Also in their 20-year group, Debbie Piles, Jeffrey Ross, Spencer Stewart. Let's honor this foursome. 25 years at ABAC, Renata Elad, Philip Hightower, and Beverly Wesley. That's 25 years. Going to ask Dr. Brundage to approach and get one of their little mementos here as we move to 35 years at ABAC. Wowzer, 35 years. First up, she began as a senior secretary in the Office of Alumni in 1989. She's had a hand in supporting ABAC campus-wide when she moved to the Computer Center, first as a microcomputer support specialist in 1994, and then as an institutional resource coordinator beginning in 1997. Most recently, in fact, last week or so, she has attained the title of Director of Marketing Services, where she oversees development of marketing content for the entire college. For 35 years of service, ladies and gentlemen, this is Cindy Barber. Congratulations, Cindy. Also, for 35 years of service, she was hired as an assistant professor of animal science in 1989, progressed in the usual fashion to her current rank of professor in 2005, currently the only faculty member to have been awarded the Donaldson Award for Excellence in Advising in 2011, Excellence in Teaching in 2013, Excellence in Student Engagement in 2019, one of our favorite faculty members ever at ABAC, and an ABAC alumnus. Ladies and gentlemen, for 35 years of service, Dr. Mary Ellen Hicks. I feel like Abraham Baldwin's photobombing each one of these pictures here. Believe it or not, we have a 40-year service award today. 40 years at ABAC. She was initially hired in 1984 as a senior secretary for the Student Center Admissions Department. I remember it. In 1991, she moved to the Division of Health, Physical Education, and Recreation, where she worked with such notable Hall of Famers as Red Hill, Wayne Cooper, Tom Moody, Her title changed to Administrative Associate along the way, and in 2022, she moved into the Student Affairs Office as a Student Affairs Assistant, applying her years of experience in administrative support to the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean of Students. Our recipient of the Service Award, unfortunately, could not be with us today due to a pressing family concern. She will be presented with a recognition at the President's End-of-Year Employee Appreciation Breakfast. That will be on May 10th. That'll be a great day as well. Ladies and gentlemen, for 40 years at ABAC, even though she's not here, I want you to honor her today with a round of applause. This is Shirley Wilson. Everybody loves Shirley, and everybody knows Shirley loves ABAC. Now we're going to move up a little bit in our ceremony today. I want to bring on President Brundage again, and we have a very special Emerita Status Award today. President Brundage.
On behalf of the entire faculty and staff of ABAC, I am proud to bestow Associate Professor Emerita of Health and Physical Education status on a person who has lived and breathed the green and gold of ABAC since her very first year here, when her team won the National Junior College Athletic Association Women's Softball National Championship. Her coaching exploits are legendary. During her coaching career, her teams won 753 games. The Golden Phillies won that 1996 national championship, one of only 5 national titles in the history of ABAC. She retired from the coaching profession in 2015, and even in her last year, her success story continued. That team won the regular season league championship and finished second in the conference tournament. With coaching behind her, the faculty member embarked on a path to be the best faculty member she could be. And now she is set to enter the world of retirement on June 1st. We wish her well, but before she goes, one last accolade. The prestigious Emerita title is possible for those who have been employed at ABAC 10 years or more, who are retired from the college, and who have had a career which reflects good teaching and service to the institution. I speak on behalf of her many colleagues and students in expression of her long and distinguished career. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present Associate Professor Emerita of Health and Physical Education of Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, Donna Campbell.
Congratulations, Donna. I actually introduced Donna when she was a first-time faculty member at ABAC. We were over in the Carlton Center in the Cordell Conference Room, and we had won the national championship in softball the previous year. And so I said, gave her background and everything, and I said, Coach, we used to win national championships here. Let's go get one. By golly, she did. Her very first year, won the national championship with the Phillies. How about another hand for Donna Campbell? Continuing with our ceremony today, we celebrate the accomplishments of our outstanding employees in the areas of leadership, service, student engagement, advising, and teaching. Each of these honors includes a monetary award and a plaque. Dr. Brundage will begin with the presentation of the E. Lanier Carson Leadership Award. She will be followed by Mary Glenn Hendricks, great friend of ABAC, who will present the Roy Jackson Award for Staff Excellence, named in honor of her father. Then Associate Professor Emerita of English Rosalind Ray Donaldson, one of my favorite people of all time. Absolutely. When she talks, her accent is like a breath of magnolias and sweet tea. Absolutely wonderful. She'll present the awards for faculty excellence in student engagement, advising, and teaching. We begin with Dr. Brundage with the E. Lanier Carson Leadership Award. Dr. Brundage.
The purpose of the E. Lanier Carson Leadership Award is to recognize the leadership contributions of an ABAC administrator who is not eligible for one of the faculty or staff awards. Each year, the recipient is selected by a campus-wide committee. We deeply appreciate Mr. Carson and all that he does for ABAC. He and his company, Kelly Manufacturing, are longtime friends of this institution. Carson Leadership honorees receive a monetary award and a commemorative plaque, and this year's recipient joined the ABAC team in 2013 as Student Accounts and Veterans Benefits Coordinator. She was promoted to Bursar and Director of Student Accounts in 2015, and in fact, she was the very first bursar in the history of ABAC. This person has ensured accuracy and regulation compliance in the area of daily cashiering activities and reporting for the Office of Finance and Operations. She uses a hands-on approach of effective duty delegation, which enhances effectiveness of operations, showcasing her commitment to efficiency. She has demonstrated this efficiency using initiatives that improve student services while ensuring compliance with regulatory standards. These initiatives include the implementation of streamlined processes within the Office of Student Accounts, the development of comprehensive training programs for student account staff, and regular audits to ensure compliance with federal, state, and institutional regulations. During her time at ABAC, today's recipient has been a true champion for our students who are veterans. From serving as an advisor to the Students Veterans Organization to the creation of what is now the Melvin L. Merrill Veterans Center, she has enhanced services for veterans in many ways. One way was to cross-train employees in the office about veterans benefits, ensuring that veterans will be able to obtain assistance in her absence. She is currently working with the University System of Georgia military liaison, Joe Dan Banker, to bring the Green Zone training program to ABAC. The Green Zone training program offers assistance to faculty and staff in universities to aid student veterans in their transition from the military to college life. And upon completion, participants are provided with a Green Zone sticker designating a secure environment for student veterans. These students are subsequently linked to resources by faculty and staff who comprehend their military backgrounds. Today's award winner was instrumental in implementing the transition from the Nelnet payment plan to the ABAC payment plan in spring 2021. The ABAC payment plan offers significant advantages to students and parents, allowing them to pay over a period of time rather than in one lump sum. This program offers a lessened financial strain on parents and students and makes the students' education more affordable. She has recently expanded this payment arrangement by introducing an estimated payment schedule that gives parents and students more flexibility. She is an ABAC alumnus, receiving her associate degree in business administration before going on to Georgia Southwestern State University to earn her Bachelor of Business Administration and her Master of Business Administration degrees. She is currently pursuing a doctoral degree in education from Columbus State University. Today's honoree actively supports the ABAC Alumni Association through donations and participation in such events as Evening for ABAC. Through these efforts, she is dedicated to ensuring all stakeholders receive the resources and support needed for success. In October of 2015, today's recipient received a tremendous honor as the gold level recipient of the Chancellor's Service Excellence Award for an outstanding individual. In 2016, she received honorable mention accolades for the Chancellor's Service Excellence E&E Improvement Initiative Team Award as a team member. So the entire state has recognized her prowess as an ABAC administrator, and we are certainly proud. Ladies and gentlemen, It is my honor and privilege to present the 2024 E. Lanier Carson Leadership Award to Bursar and Director of Student Accounts, Jessica Miller.
On behalf of the Jackson family, it is my pleasure to present this year's Roy R. Jackson Award for Staff Excellence. Criteria for this award state that the staff member must be dependable, loyal, reliable, and contribute to the growth and development of the college beyond the call of duty. The recipient of this award must have completed at least 10 years of continuous full-time service to ABAC. You have seen this award's winner's friendly face in several departments over the years, including the bookstore, the cashier's office, and the office of the Dean of Students. You may have also heard her on the other end of the tech support hotline, calmly walking employees and students upset with misbehaving technology through the solution process. Proper business phone etiquette says you should answer the phone with a smile, so that smile comes through to the caller. And this year's winner does that so well you can almost hear the smile before she picks up the phone. In her most recent role on campus, she is responsible for the customer service training of the housing staff, coordination of ABAC Housing's room assignments process, management of the STARRES housing management system, and often aids with communication efforts for ABAC's orientation programs. Her supervisor has this to say about her. She came into ABAC Housing at a very pivotal time, housing renewals, and managed much of the communication of that process. This role can often be the first line of communication for both parents and students, and her smiling face and patient demeanor lend itself very well to effective office management. ABAC Housing is very blessed to have her as a part of the team and are excited to see her continue to positively impact the ABAC student body for years to come. In the words of her nominations, she is an amazing person and goes out of her way to help both students and staff. She always has a smile on her face and willing to help no matter what. She goes above and beyond her duties. Her supervisor also shares she has demonstrated incredible customer service and dedication to ABAC during her time here. In her transition into the ABAC housing office this year, she has built incredible relationships with students, innovated many of housing's processes, and continues to make a positive impact. He concludes, there are very few people who are a joy to work with every day, and she easily makes this list. Ladies and gentlemen, this year's recipient of the prestigious Roy R. Jackson Sr. Award for Staff Excellence goes to a program support specialist in the Office of Housing and Student Affairs. May I present Ms. Sarah Melanwinski.
Well, As Mary Glenn and I was saying a short while ago, we do not know how many years we have been up here doing this. But to me, it is ancient, and I am ancient. And as the oldest person in this room, Jeff, you're not even in my category, honey. I want to indulge myself for just a few minutes, Madam President, if you don't mind. I'd like to tell you how these 3 awards for good teaching came about. I came on this campus in the spring of 1965 when this building here was the administration building, the comptroller's office, the dean's office, you name it, it was here. They had air conditioning downstairs, none upstairs, where we taught at least 300 students per day. Does this sound familiar? We would come down here to cool off. Well, when I came on this faculty, Dr. J. Clyde Driggers was the president, and he was a very good president. But he alarmed the faculty when he announced in the fall faculty workshop that there would be established a gift or an honorarium for the most outstanding teacher of the year. Now, you would think that that would be a very pleasurable thing for teachers to hear. It was not. There was acrimony, there was consternation, there was hostility about that, and it really put a barrier between the president and many of the teachers, because many of the teachers felt as though this would become not a thing in the world, but a popularity contest. Or it would be one of those contests where it would be, well, this division got it this year, another one will get it the next year. And throughout that year, it was a very difficult time. Anytime the teaching award was mentioned. And it also carried at that time an honorarium of $1,000, which in 1965 was big money. Well, we had graduation over in what was then just called the auditorium. Years later, it would be named after Miss Tilly Mae Howard, who was the longtime registrar of this college, and it would be known as Howard Auditorium. We had the whole graduation ceremony there. All the faculty were there, and the regalia of the academic world. And it was at the very end of the graduation ceremony that Dr. Driggers made the announcement that the annual teaching award that had now been established for 1965 would go to Ernest Edwards. The minute he named Ernest Edwards as the outstanding teacher, all acrimony, all hostility dissolved, because everybody knew and respected Ernest Edwards. Edwards Hall is named after him, as some of you may know. He was so highly respected and highly regarded that from then on, to be a part and to join the line of the teachers who would uphold that teaching award was so respected. Time passed, and it worked out then that Dr. Driggers unfortunately died. We had several other presidents to come in, and it worked out then that when Dr. Jim Moran became the academic dean, he was approached if he would be willing to give the honorarium for the teaching award. And he said he would. And as long as he and Sally were here, that's what they did. Well, it worked out that he left and went on to become the esteemed president of Dalton College. On one day, I was seated in my office on the 3rd floor of Conger Hall, and I received a phone call from Dr. Lord's administrative assistant, and she said that he wanted to see me if it was convenient during the afternoon. Well, when you're as low on the totem pole as I was, I found it immediately convenient to get up and go. So I left the 3rd floor of Conger Hall, traipsed over here, and walked into his office, and I said, "I'm here." And he said, "I want to talk to you a little bit about something. I have a proposition for you." And I was listening with all ears. And he said, "Would you be interested in establishing the teaching award?" Well, after a very brief discussion and some negotiation, I agreed to do it. And I said, "I only want one thing, Dr. Lord. I want to make sure that academics are upheld. I want to make sure that whoever gets this award will be a person who's not necessarily the most popular teacher on campus, but is a teacher who is well respected in the discipline and in working with students. Well, time passed, and more time passed, and more time passed. And it was then that on one day, this was after I'd retired, then who was the dean, the academic dean, it was not a provost, but an academic dean, called me, and he said, you know, we have had the Advising Award for a number of years, but there is no honorarium that's given with it. Would you be willing for some of the monies that you have placed in the Donaldson Endowment, would you be willing for them to award an advisor? I said, no, no, no. I said, I want that teaching award to remain as it is, and I don't want that. And so we hung up. Well, I got to think about that thing, and about 5 minutes later, I got to think about some of those advisees who had deviled the life out of me. You know what I'm talking about. And I called Melvin Merrill, who was then in charge of the development, and I said, Melvin, I've just been called about this, and I said, this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to go ahead and establish the Advising Award, and I also, of course, will have the honorarium on a parity with whatever the teaching award is. And it was established, and it was done. Well, more time passed, and it was then that Dr. Deidre Martin, who came on in as the Director of Development, she called and asked me would I be willing to endow the Engagement Award, and I said, well, what is it? I didn't even know what she was talking about. And she explained a little bit about it, and I really, it captured my attention. I said, yeah, I said, we'll go on with it. And so that is how these 3 awards came into being. And one is not superior to the other. And I want to make that clear now before I give these awards. They're on a parity. The honorarium is the same for the 3. I wanted it to be that way. I wanted it to be one in which anytime any of those teachers' names happens to be mentioned, it is done with respect because that person has won the Advisement Award or has been awarded as the Teacher of the Year or has been awarded as a teacher who can engage students. If there's anything I believe in, it is good, strong teaching with strong academic standards. I've always taken great pride in the fact that whenever our students have left ABAC and have gone on to other universities and institutions, they have succeeded. And invariably, you hear over and over from those students, I had an easier time at thus and so University than I did at ABAC, because the teaching here has always been sound, it has been respected, and it is academically strong. And as I read these scripts for these 3 honorees today, I knew that they followed in the same line, going back to Ernest Edwards in 1965, who simply said, this is the material. There is a joy in learning, but this is the material, and you have to reach for it. And that is how these 3 awards have come into being. And I don't want to be approached about another one. But anyway, this is how these 3 awards came to be. And if there's anything that my husband, my late husband, would really be proud of, it would be the fact that this bears his name because he was a perfectionist in the work that he did. Okay. Today, I once again have the honor of presenting awards to recognize and celebrate outstanding faculty achievement. And friends, above everything, it must be outstanding faculty achievement. We begin this morning with the W. Bruce and Rosalind Ray Donaldson Award for Excellence in Student Engagement. The spirit and purpose of this award is to publicly recognize one faculty member each year who engages in meaningful and creative ways with students at ABAC. This award commends and rewards faculty who excel in mentoring students through interdisciplinary collaborations, innovative projects, internship opportunities, undergraduate research, or other academic enrichment experiences that engage students actively in the learning process. To be eligible for consideration for this award, a faculty member must be a full-time tenured or tenure-track position with 2 or more years of continuous service to the college. Nominations for this award are accepted from faculty, students, and alumni. Eligible nominees submit packets describing their student engagement work, containing letters of support from students, peers, and supervisors. A committee comprised of both faculty and students reviews and scores each submission, and those scores are tallied to determine the award recipient. This year's winner has this to say about engaged learning. To my mind, this effort is what sets ABAC apart. Yes, we teach important skills in the classroom, but student investment in our classroom efforts allow those skills to be more deeply learned. Further connecting students to opportunities to practice and use those skill sets helps them to mature as professionals and also to further extend the learning process. His department head says this of this year's recipients. He exhibits student engagement from the moment students step into our major and continues to engage our students throughout their professional career. He prompts students to have conversations, ask questions, and seek thoughts from additional experts. A peer believes that while his CV will document his excellence in mentoring students, it cannot accurately illuminate the high quality of his character or steadfast commitment to supporting ABAC students. He regularly taps into his extensive professional network to place students in internships, graduate school assistantships, and employment positions, often talking associates into creating these positions, especially for the student in question. In addition to mentoring students, completing internships, this faculty member advises the Ag Communicators of Tomorrow and is co-advisor for the newly formed Collegiate 4-H Club. He also recruits, reviews, and recommends students for Sunbelt Ag Expo social media internships. These students not only take photos, write blog posts, and initiate live videos for social media, but also conduct interviews and produce stories included in the Expo Guide. This requires a commitment to 10 to 12-hour days on the part of a faculty mentor to guide and troubleshoot for these students. A 2023 graduate and former student shares that this year's candidate was a vital influence in my academic journey, both in and out of the classroom. After the first day of my internships, I called him in a panic. I was overwhelmed and needed his professional advice on how to navigate my new responsibilities. He picked up the phone after hours and immediately provided me with the resources and support I needed to make it through. She goes on to note, throughout my time at ABAC, he was relentless in his pursuit to better the ABAC agricultural communication program and all the students he came into contact with. From undergraduate research to internships, he excels in all areas of student engagement. This year's award winner earned his PhD in Agricultural Communications and Education and a Master of Science in Agricultural Communication from Texas Tech University. He also received a Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Communication from Oklahoma State University. Please join me in congratulating this year's W. Bruce and Rosalind Ray Donaldson Excellence in Student Engagement Award winner and assistant professor from the Department of Agricultural Education and Communication in the School of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Dr. Austin R. Moore. I like to say that these next two recipients are individuals that I had the privilege and the honor of teaching. And they remain today as some of the excellent students of so many that I had the privilege of teaching, while I spent more years teaching at ABAC than I think I'll publicly admit today. The criteria for the W. Bruce and Rosalind Ray Donaldson Award for Excellence in Advising include strong interpersonal skills, mastery of institutional regulations and policies and procedures, the ability to engage in career and life planning versus simply course scheduling and availability to advisees. Other factors in considering this recognition include peer perception of nominees' advising skills and student advisee evaluations. Current ABAC students, faculty, and staff are asked to submit nominations for this award, and those who meet the award criteria are then invited to provide materials in support of their nomination. A committee made up of faculty, staff, and students reviews all submissions, and their scores are tallied to determine the winner. Prior year winners are eligible to be considered again for this award after 7 years. On that note, for only the second time in the history of this award, we have a repeat winner. A peer's letter of support observes that this advisor provides realistic advice based on the student's academic performance and career goals. This individualized attention takes time and patience. She also knows what is required at other schools and prepares her students by making sure they meet prerequisites and all requirements for their desired program. Her school dean says about this year's recipient, she is well respected as an advisor. Because of her advising skills, she has mentored new faculty on the advising process and procedures. She dedicates her heart and soul to her students. In the words of a peer, she's dedicated to the success of her advisees. She follows their progress throughout the semester. She begins early with graduation applications, preparing packets for advising sessions, and reviewing to make sure soon-to-be graduates are still on track. At the end of the semester, she checks to see who had dean's or president's list honors and who had academic struggles. I have been inspired by the passion she exudes for the students in the School of Agriculture and Natural Resources. When it comes to her role as an academic advisor, she is second to none. Her advising philosophy states in a nutshell, my role as an advisor is critical to what students with an interest in the livestock industry will do with their lives. Seeing the results of 35 years' worth of work has made me extremely aware of what type of influence I can have on the young people as an academic advisor, career advisor, organizational advisor, and a life skills advisor. But what do her advisees have to say? Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to meet with me this week. I appreciate you sharing your expert advice with me. I deeply admire your passion for the industry and your drive to help students succeed. Thank you for being more than just a professor to your students. You're also a mentor, a cheerleader, and a leader. And she is not only a wonderful advisor, but also an amazing person. She allows me to ask her any questions, even if it's not related to academics. She's always very truthful and gives genuine advice on what steps to take to get to where you or need or want to be. It is widely known that this year's Advising Award recipient dedicates her time and energy to a holistic approach of advising, academics, and industry exposure for students with her work as the ABAC Cattlemen's Chapter Advisor, organizing industry tours to a variety of feed yard operations every spring, and encouraging student officers to attend convention and trade show events. As noted earlier, this second-time Advising Award recipient has also received the Donaldson Award for teaching and also for student engagement. This year's recipient started her collegiate journey at ABAC, graduating with an AS degree in pre-veterinary science before continuing at the University of Georgia for a BS and Doctor of Veterinary Science. Please join me in congratulating this year's W. Bruce and Rosalind Ray Donaldson Excellence and Advising Award, a professor from the Department of Agriculture in the School of Agriculture and Natural Resources, Dr. Mary Ellen Hicks. I'm repeating what I said a minute ago, and I had the privilege of teaching this student too, who will be coming forth in just a minute. The awarding of the 2024 W. Bruce and Rosalind Ray Donaldson Award for Teaching Excellence continues a 59-year tradition of faculty recognition. The purpose of this prestigious award is to publicly recognize superior instruction and exemplary service to the college by honoring one faculty member each year as chosen by a special representative committee of faculty and students. In order to be eligible for consideration for the Donaldson Teaching Award, a faculty member must be a full-time instructor with 5 or more years of continuous service to the college. The process begins when faculty nominate one or more of their peers from each school. Once the nominees have submitted international packets, the selection committee has the difficult task of reviewing the packets and scoring these outstanding faculty members to determine the finalists. Each year, these decisions prove to be a close contest. This year's winner has this to say about teaching. Teachers serve not only as a guide, but also as an inspiration, a supervisor, instructor, a coach, a counselor, and inspiration to all at once. Above all, teachers should be effective communicators. Communication is the key to working well with people of all ages and backgrounds. The supervisor of this year's recipient states that one must truly care, listen, and guide to be a successful teacher and mentor. This individual exhibits these and many other interpersonal skills quite strongly. Her teaching style is engaging and highly appreciated by our students. This is quite a feat, considering she's teaching in an area widely considered to be boring and uninteresting. In a letter of support, one student provides this insight. She consistently demonstrates innovative teaching methods and a genuine passion for inspiring students. Her many degrees and certifications show her dedication not only to being a teacher, but also continually being a student. All of this keeps her knowledge and skills relevant and up to date. A peer writes that her learning center approach incorporates giving the students voice, choice, and ignites classroom participation. As a credentialed attorney, she advocates free speech and the exchange of ideas in a civil manner, and don't we need that today? Guided by ABAC pride and a commitment to her profession, her demeanor is always on proper display in all areas of her engagement. A former student and second-year law student asserts, rote memorization of theory and trends is not enough for her. Instead, she encourages her students to conduct their own investigation of real-world problems and share their unique solutions. Her students do not argue, they confer and cooperate, something both exceedingly rare and highly desired in today's professionals. He continues, she's the kind of person that every teacher should strive to be, and the kind of teacher that every stallion at ABAC is lucky to have. Another peer shares, she believes in and exemplifies the value of lifelong learning. As an observer of the positive interaction, mutual respect, and admiration bestowed on her by current as well as past students, I can honestly say that she's a shining example of preparation in building and promoting tomorrow's leaders in the business world. Recent notable accomplishments include recruitment by textbook publisher Cengage to write blog posts on engaging teaching methods, selection for the 2023-24 University System of Georgia, Executive Leadership Institution, and selection as the 2022 recipient of the Donaldson Award for Excellence in Advising. This year's recipient has taught at ABAC since 2008. She earned an Associate of Science degree from ABAC before heading to Georgia Southwestern for her BA in Business Administration and then to Valdosta State University for her MBA. Her education journey continued at Mercer University with a Juris Doctorate. She also holds a Master of Law degree from Emory University School of Law. It gives me great pleasure to present the W. Bruce and Rosalind Ray Donaldson Award for Teaching Excellence to a professor from the Stafford School of Business, Diantha Ellis.
How about a nice hand for Rosalind and Mary Glenn for being with us today? Thank you. Thank you, Rosalind. And I'm going to take the tape of today's ceremony and put it into ABAC history because Rosalind gave us a great history lesson on the background.
I'm not through.
More to come. Stay tuned. Thank you, and thank you to Mr. Carson for his sponsorship of the E. Lanier Carson Award. Congratulations to all of today's recipients, and I think all of them deserve another great round of applause. We've got a lot of folks watching our live stream today, and we invite all of those people to come over and enjoy our refreshments in the Michael D. Chasen ABAC History Room in just a moment. And also we have some awards for those 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, right on down the line, and they are available in that room. And thanks to our Human Resources Office for providing those awards, Employee Years of Service Recognition Awards. The entire campus is going to be with us shortly. I appreciate Brenda Doss for putting together today's program very much. Brenda, great job as usual. Congratulate all our award winners. Thank you for your attendance today. Go forth and make every day an ABAC day. Thanks for being with us. Abigail's doing the pictures.